Hello, everyone. Today we have a new episode of What's Up in Archaeology. We're going to cover two vastly different time zones. One is more very recent, and the other one is much more into the past. So let's get started. And this one's a little bit close to my heart because it deals with Portugal. And more interesting, it's maritime archaeology and some of the pitfalls that can happen. So let's get started and read the article. It's from News Network Archaeology, and it deals with a shipwreck, Portuguese shipwreck in Namibia. 1533, a Portuguese ship called Bom Jesus, meaning good Jesus, wrecked itself on the Namibian coast, which was a normal thing. The coast of Namibia is a notorious ship's graveyard. There are hundreds, even modern times, because of the fogs and the treacherous tides, etc. If you've seen any, even like Top Gear, if you've seen any of when they did a special in Top Gear where they drove up Namibia with some dune buggies, you could see that the beaches are endless. Excuse me, but there are a lot of ships there due to the conditions, and there's a lot of fog there, so that's natural. So let's start. Diamond prospectors in Namibia nearly a decade ago stumbled upon the remnants of a Portuguese ship, a vessel, whose trading journey to India was cut violently short during a storm, which is natural and normal in that area, even today. Today, the artifacts from the doomed ship, described by archaeologists as one of the era's most important finds, remains a hidden treasure. And we can see here a photograph of some of the gold coins that were recovered from the ship. There's a good and bad side to this. Relics stored in a dimly lit warehouse at a diamond mine in Namibia's Atlantic coast, including bronze cannons, copper ingots, eroded musket stocks, cracked ivory tusks, rusted sword sheaths. But they are seen by only a very small number of visitors who navigate the seal doors and other stringent security measures of the mine, operated by NAMDEP, a joint venture between Namibia and De Beers Company. De Beers, if you want to know, is the world's biggest diamond extracting, selling, marketing company. It's basically a monopoly. It controls 80 or more % of the diamond trade in the world. They are so powerful that they basically buy up all the diamonds so they can keep artificially the prices high all over the world. The remains of the ship, which was owned by King João III or King John III, identified by archaeologists as the Bom Jesus, good Jesus, and it's in limbo in this South African country. Basically, it was the story is that of course, in 1533 it was shipwrecked, got covered up, and etc. Now, because it was located in a mine area, which is as we come down here. The vessel was founded centuries after a treacherous coastline, while Namibia says these needs resources. They're not preserving it because Namibia says it doesn't have the money. Okay, well, I'll accept that. And so they've stored it, which is still at least a good thing. Problem is it hasn't been properly treated, the materials, so they are decaying, as it says here. The bonanza, it could have been a beautiful research and tourist bonanza. It's decay is taking its toll. It would have been a wonderful bonus for the Namibian government, says Dieter Noli, who has worked in the Bom Jesus excavation site. But it's been safe from plunderers because it's in the diamond mining area called Sperrgebied, or a prohibited area. For those who don't know, Namibia up until 1918 was a German colony, just not between South Africa and Angola. So it was between a British colony and a Portuguese colony. And after World War I, the South Africa took control of the administration, and it achieved its independence in 1990. So it's a very recent country. Here's a picture, which is very significant. This picture, these are copper ingots, right? And as you can see, they are in this picture. They are laid in. They seem to be in a line, and that is significant. You know why? Because the ingots were used both as ballast of the ship, so they were put in the bottom of the ship to keep the ship upright, more or less, and then they would be traded. Of course, this ballast was a commodity. Modern day ships sometimes use stone rocks, but in that time, why waste a valuable space when you could fill it up with commodities? And the Portuguese East Indian Company wanted to fill up the ships with maximum amount of goods. So they used the copper, the heavier metals, materials, as ballast to balance the ship. Now, this ship is significant because it is, as the article obviously says, it's been untouched and unlooted, which is very rare for ships of that time, in fact. And they are planning to make a museum in the mining town of Oranjemund. That's how I think you pronounce it, near the shipwreck site. But it's languishing. Namibia needs a sponsor to kickstart the museum project, and Oranjemund set aside land for it. So they have the land. Esther Moonbula Goagosis, the head of Namibia National Museum, is overseeing the shipwreck. This is a syringe. It says here a brass syringe from the medical supplies of the ship. Moa Elliott, the Namibian I'm not going to make the same mistake as Trump, Namibian maritime archaeologist. A little bit as a side note, maritime archaeologists, marine archaeologists have a very, very bad reputation in archaeology itself. We almost consider them looters, mostly because many of them claim the site, as a lot of them are outside international waters or inside international waters, so they are outside of any claim. A lot of them are, most of them aren't, and they fund again, most of them fund the expedition. To excavate the sites by selling the finds, and that's why I think I find them at least not very morally questionable in that aspect. But again, that is just me. Now, because the ship was Portuguese, Portugal decided not to reclaim the possessions of the artifacts. I have mixed feelings about that, but that's just me again. That's my personal opinion. Personally, I would have reclaimed them, excavated them, and then built the museum in Namibia under Portuguese, basically Portuguese governance and etc. Of course, using the locals as administrators, and giving no problems, giving the Namibians jobs, etc., training, etc. But Portugal taking over. That's how I would have done. The Portuguese Culture Ministry said that the written responses to questions. It has a Portuguese team where they are assisting Namibian and Zimbabwean archaeologists working in the wreck in 2008 and 2009, and they are in touch with the authorities, and they are to stage traveling exhibitions and of the finds in Windhoek and Portugal. Windhoek is the capital of Namibia, just so you guys know. Portugal plans to hold a conservation and restoration course in Orangemunde, and he's waiting to hear from Namibia for its training, about its training. So Portugal's basically willing to pay for the training and etc. But apparently the Namibian government is dragging their feet. Just a picture of a government worker holding, showing whether the the material that has been excavated is stored. Now, it's, as it said, it achieved independence from white minority rule in 1990, and they have been trying to reinforce national and indigenous culture, highlighting the long history of the San people, which is good, as well as the brutal legacy of the German colonizers, which was bad. But at the same time, they have received extensive funding from Germany, which is ironic. But that's not my place and this time to put in politics. That's their thing. Vigorously promoting itself as a destination of international tourism, which is good because it is a bloody beautiful place. It is very, very unspoilt. So, yes. While the fate of the Bom Jesus is unknown, the ship's relics include pewter plates, cutlery handles, etc., etc. A lot of stuff. Syringes and goods that were traded for spices in India. We were trading for pepper. That was the main crop. That was the main spice. Of course, there were other spices, cloves, ginger, etc., etc. But in that time, the king of spices was pepper, black pepper, white pepper. It was worth vast amounts of, basically a ship full, a captain got a crew, got the ship, got the license to go trade in India from the King of Portugal. He traveled to Portugal, to India, down the West African coast, around South Africa, up the East African coast, into India, the Malabar coast, and filled up his ship with pepper. He would have taken silver and gold, maybe. Once he returned, but once he returned with that ship, after even the king getting his cut, the crew were set for life. Just one voyage and of pepper, and you could be set for life if you were a captain. And the crew, not just the lowest crew, would be set for life. That's how much pepper was worth then. Now it's an awesome spice. That you added to, it's awesome in steaks. But then it was 10 to 100 times more valuable than gold. So that's just a bit of insight. Nolly, an archaeologist, said the ingots are quietly going green. They won't rust. They just oxidizing the copper in the bronze, turning green. They're making a patine that's protecting them, in fact. And they're literally flaking away. Yes, most of them are because there's a lot of salt. But in generally, if you get a good patine, a good cover of a copper oxide, they can be protected if you don't move them. If you move them a lot, then they do flake. Yes, the materials such as wood and leather are slowly disintegrating. 3 astrolabes. It was the navigation equipment. The astrolabes were used to measure longitude and of course latitude, but mostly longitude. These devices used in navigation should be flown to Portugal for restoration and research. I would love to do the research, to do the excavation, the preservation of those materials. I took a sort of a course, a sort of a small. I was trained to restore. It was a small restoration course I took. and it is awesome. I love it. So in 2016, Portuguese public television station RTP visited Windhoek Bank in hopes of seeing the stash of gold coins. In one awkward scene, the Namibian official standing in front of the padlock safe box said to contain the gold said they couldn't open it because there's a problem with documents. And Alexandre Monteiro, an expert at the Universidade Nova de Lisboa in Portugal, said Namibia should ask UNESCO, the United Nations Cultural Body, to send technical teams to evaluate the artifacts. Yes. By the way, on Sunday, I'm going to host a team from UNESCO. So wish me luck. With every passing day, the opportunities we have to stop the process of degradation are diminishing. That's true. The Bom Jesus will indeed disappear in a few years' time if nothing gets done. So that is the perils of when you don't look after your history. You let degradation, let your artifacts, because they are Namibia's artifacts. Portugal, even if Portugal claimed them, they would still be Namibians' domain or have influence. They could have made the museum there, even being under Portuguese Portuguese command, ownership, management. That's it. Portuguese management, top management, or patronage. That's the word. They still could have done it if the Namibian government want to, but I think that they only want the diamonds, which are much more lucrative. But they do run out. So while I have I'm going on to the next article, and guess what? It is my favorite subject. Can anyone guess? Yes, it's Neanderthals again. If anyone have seen the description to this, you would have seen. And yes, John, thank you. Yes, you did get it correct. I am the Illuminati. I'm the Grand Wizard Major. I am both Saruman the White and what's that other guy's name? I'm all their leaders, so it's no good over. I will cover that because it's ongoing. Then the Lady Caves are ongoing now as we speak. It is awesome, but it's Neanderthals. I will share, of course, the screen. Now, last week I talked about, or Monday I talked about, what was it last week? Last week I talked about Neanderthals making glue with birch bark bitumen. Today, this article is about Neanderthals using chemistry to start fires. Of course, the actual study is in the description. I didn't include a study to the Portuguese shipwreck because it's not a study, it's ongoing. It was just an article, an interesting article. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But now we're going into a little bit more scientific minded. Oops, sorry about that. Just to make everyone see a little bit better. That's good. Now, scientists know a lot about Neanderthals these days. Of course we do. Their hair color, they were ginger. Yes, they had no souls, etc. Their mating habits, yes, because they mated with us, Homo sapiens sapiens, and we mated with them, Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, and we produced hybrid offsprings, etc., which modern humans carry the genes. But did they know how to start fire? One of the basic mysteries. Of course they did. I'll answer that now. Homo erectus has been known to the first to have domesticated or used fires to cook. So I'm sure hundreds of thousands of years later, by then going through archaic Homo sapiens, which gave rise to Homo sapiens sapiens, Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, Homo sapiens denisovians, and possibly the fourth one, which we don't know about. They knew how to start a fire. But archaeologists have long known that Neanderthals, like the family pictured in the artist's representation, this one, they are humans. These are humans, people. They are our cousins. If you see an article that says they are our descent, that we are they are our ancestors, ridicule it. The idiot that wrote it should be ridiculed as much as possible. They are not our ancestors, or we are not their descendants. They are our cousins, cousin species. They are a race of humans, Homo sapiens. I will always emphasize this, by the way. So, now, a new hypothesis about some odd Neanderthal artifacts suggesting that our distant cousins could indeed spark a fire from scratch. That gives you the clue of how they possibly started fire, but is not what the study is about. I'll just starting fire is easy and it's hard. It's easy if you have the right technique and the right materials. You need a hardwood base and a soft wood base and a hardwood pole thing, stick where you can rub it. Yes, there's a lot of innuendos in this statement, but if you rub the stick onto the hardwood hard enough, it'll provide enough friction to produce a spark. Now, you can get your jokes out if you want. I enjoyed it as well. So that's one way. And the other way, they had Neanderthals had flint tools. They also knew about iron pyrites. They did know about iron pyrites. And if you strike flint and iron pyrites, you get a spark. That's just a supposition. That's just a hypothesis. It's not a theory. It's a hypothesis. It has to be tested. It has been tested, actually, in experimental archaeology, and it's found to be produced. But we just need to find the evidence for that. But we're going to concentrate on this evidence. So, excavations from a 50,000-year-old site of Pech de Lazé in southwestern France has yielded blocks of manganese dioxide, which is abundant in the region's limestone foundation. Manganese dioxide is how manganese basically exists in nature. Sorry for my accent. It's iron pyrites. Iron pyrites. Oh, fool's gold, as it's another colloquial name for it. I don't apologize for my accent. You guys just need to listen to Australian. So they found that iron pyrite, manganese dioxide, is black, natural black pigment. It's pure. It's darker than. No. I want to keep. I was going to say a joke, but I'll write it here. I think you guys know who I mean. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I'm not gonna write it. Forget it. Let's get back to the article. It's that trans black transracial person, not the woman, the guy. So let's get back to this. Um, Archaeologists previously thought that Neanderthals used this substance as a black pigment to decorate their bodies. Yes, but a new team of researchers points out that the charcoal and soot from the campfires could have made an easier and more accessible body paint. True, would have been there. No problems there. No argument in my part there. But manganese dioxide produces a different type of black than charcoal and soot. They mixed it up with fats and so on to produce the pigments which they used to possibly decorations. But the manganese is a very rich type of black. It is shiny. It produces a distinct hue. So they could have used both the three of the both methods, both pigments. Plus, the Neanderthals at Pêche de la Zé, I don't know what that means, by the way. It's a name, but never mind. One, that's because there's more than the Pêche de la Zé cave is more than one place. Appears to have strongly preferred manganese oxide to other manganese oxides available in the environment. Dioxide. There's two manganese dioxide environment, even though all of them are closely related chemicals. Would have yielded the same color pigments. So what can manganese dioxide do that its relatives can't? Well, it says starts fires. I'll accept that. Yeah, of course. No problems with that. It does react easily, easier. It does react in a way that it increases the temperature of the fire. So noticing signs of abrasions on some of the Pêche de la Zé 1 blocks, the scientists ground up bits of them to produce a powder. When they sprinkled that powder over a pile of wood, it lowered the temperature needed to initiate combustion at 250 degrees Celsius. So it was a catalyst starting the fire. Fine, yes. Making it much easier to start a fire. They reported today in scientific reports. I've included in the description their actual study. So if you guys want to read it, absolutely read it. And it's an interesting read. Untreated wood failed to ignite at temperatures up to 350 degrees Celsius. The researchers can't rule out other possible Neanderthal uses of manganese dioxide, including body decorations. Of course, why not both? But based on their experiments, they suggested adding fire starting to the list. I wholeheartedly agree. Yes, Dragonfire, Gunny. So why not both? Yes, it was used as a decoration. Yes, it was possibly used for starting fires. These are all hypotheses. They have been tested and produced a result. But and some of the evidence points to that, but it's still not a theory. It hasn't passed the actual inconclusive phase where the scientific method kicks in and it's been confirmed. So it's a nice short story. I love the author Lizzie Wade. She's Liz is Science's Latin American correspondent based in Mexico City. So she's Mexico City, and she's writing an article of Neanderthals in France. Luckily, she had the actual study like I have, and I might use this. This is my. I love this picture, by the way. You can see that the wolf there. By the way, the detail in this is extraordinary. I'm going to just now. I've finished the article, but I'm just going to now show you guys whoever did this picture knows archaeology. Now let's have a look at it. The scene. We have a family around a campfire, but he's made it too SJW to my thing. The hearth would have been more quote unquote luxurious. Now you see along on the if you guys can see my cursor. Along here, some discarded bones, animal bones. This one here, the one that's to the back, is possibly napping or repairing a tool. A child behind it. The one facing with the back is a female. So is the one with a child behind her. The other two, possibly an elder and another hunter, another male. It's not being sexist. It's just how the scene is portrayed, and that's how it is. The hunters were the males. The gatherers, the primary food procurement, were the children, the elderly, and the females. That is an egalitarian society. All of them contributed. All of them were of value. This is what feminism should be looking at as a model. But then we would have to go back to hunting and gathering, because agriculture is it naturally, it forcibly produces a stratified society and gender, quote unquote, stereotypes. It's not just in gender roles, it's what they did. John W. Yes, I agree with you, but I'm just showing you what an analogy. So now they have a dog here. It's a wolf. It's a tamed wolf. Yes, the cave is too close. Realistically, the cave is too close to the river. This would be a midsummer scene due to show them they were lacking clothes, and the river is not covered in ice. Even in southern France, in autumn, from autumn to spring, autumn, winter, and spring, the river would have been very, very icy. So yes, I know Malaf is, but then they wouldn't have their iPhones. So I also want us to go back to the cavemen type, as evil Gunny says. Yes, Gunny, that is my family. But it is sort of quite accurate in its depiction, except for the background. Concentrating on the foreground, where over time, when this is covered up due to natural sedimentation, when we excavate, we can then isolate the different activity areas from the hearth or the fireplace. That's a hearth, to the pit, the discardation of the bones that were butchered, to where they napped. They didn't nap. They didn't produce the tools, the flint tools, in the areas. They were produced in the specific areas, because when you nap flint, those little blades, they cut. They will bloody rip you to shreds. That's how sharp they are. They are the edges. I've said this before. The edges in a flint blade is 2 microns. The best bisturi that plastic surgeons use made of metal is 18 microns. So you can see how sharp it is. And a little bit of a lesson, and just for the time, I think I will end it here because we've covered most of it. I might modify this this image, but I'm so crap at Photoshop. I would love to use this as, or use this in some way, but never mind. I think I'll keep the ones I have now. So let's have a look at the chat for another 5 minutes, and then I'll end the stream. So how are you, Kianami, John, of Belafis, Malfis 999, Beach Price, mates, Warped, how are you? You deserve this, by the way. You deserve this. Wow, what is paint? I've never heard of it. Is that some newfangled painting type program that one has in now computers? Just so you guys know, I'm drinking a English barley wine, local craft beer. Bloody awesome. Economy, yes, obsidian. In fact, it's replaced because in certain reconstructive surgery, especially involving capillaries and really fine nerve endings, etc. Obsidian bisturies blades are used in instead of the iron ones because of the 2 micron edge that can cut around the capillaries. And if anyone's done biology, capillaries are bloody small. So yes. Oh, did MS Microsoft killed off Paint? Oh. Anyway, thank you guys for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. I was going to do this yesterday, but there were just too many people doing live streams, so did that, and came on here. So Warped. Yesterday, you saw the fuck up I did in Cognitive Thoughts channel. I don't know what I did yesterday. I was playing a game and I was watching his stream, and I had the wrench, and somehow I muted a person, or deleted his account. I muted it. I don't know how I did it, and I was correctly removed from the wrench hood thing. So I'm not. They did well. Cognitive did well. I don't hold. He did well. I just want to apologize to the person who, if he listens, he's probably not listening, but I still want to apologize because I don't know what I did and I fucked up. Oops, there goes my monetization. Anyway, guys, thank you. Yes, capillaries are so small. Red blood cells. No, they can't. They actually don't transport red blood vessels. Oh no, they are. That's the lymphatic system. Yeah, you're correct. Sorry, mate. I was almost going to make my cock up of myself, so thank you. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming along, and good night.